what I was doing, because halfway through I exited and came back, and the stream didn't pick up the window for some reason. So basically, last few days I've been playing a pretty good game. It's been going pretty well, enjoying it a lot. However, I'm going to stop playing that game. A few reasons. One, I've learned a few new things. Two, I was playing on huge galaxy with 1,000 stars, and I just feel that that's way too big. I want to learn the game a little bit more, play a little bit more, before jumping into a super grand game and playing it all the way through. I still want to mod the game, I still want to hack it a bit, play around, really learn it. That's how I like to learn games. So what I'm going to do is stop that game. That game was going pretty good. I was just in a war with the biggest empire in, I think it was the second biggest empire on the map, and it was definitely the biggest anywhere near me. And they were also in a federation, so they had it was a total of 4 empires. And something just out of dumb luck happened in that game, very unplanned. I didn't even notice that it was happening until it started happening, and then I actually had to look up what it was. And that was, I ended up speccing my ships with lasers and shields. I took only laser and shield research, and then I had very strong lasers and shields. The empire I was fighting only had lasers as weapons and armor. So their lasers would not chew through my shields, because the lasers are weak against shields. That's something new that I learned. The weapon systems in this game are sort of rock, paper, scissors. You can see here, there's lasers, nuclear missiles, red lasers, lasers, missiles, and mass drivers. Those are the 3 weapon types. The 3 defense types are evasion, general hull hit points, but primarily defenses are shields and armor. So mass drivers tear through shields. So if you focus on shields and you're fighting someone with mass drivers, you're going to get raped. If you focus on armor and you're fighting someone with lasers, you're going to get raped. Lasers counter armor, mass drivers counter shields. Missiles do more damage and have longer range, but they're counterable by point defense systems. So evasive technology and anti-missile systems. Now, the empire I was fighting basically just had majority of lasers and armor. I had lasers and shields. It is not wise. I've learned from that it is completely unwise to specialize in one type of weapon or defense. You should probably have 2. That way, you've got 1 weakness and 1 counter. You then still optimize your research by not speccing in 3 and just focusing on 2. Ideally, you want to have all of them, but then you have to spread your research out. You can't really specialize and have an upper leg at 1 or 2 of them. So what I'm going to do in this game is I'm going to specialize in 2 weapon systems. I think I'm going to do missiles and lasers, so that I have the range advantage, and I also have the medium range advantage. And then I will specialize in the exact counters to what I have, which is shields and anti-missile systems, evasion and anti-missile systems. So that would leave me fairly weak to mass drivers, but I have the longest range, so missiles will hit them at range before they get into range with mass drivers, hopefully inflict a lot of casualties. And then lasers also have longer range than mass drivers, which are the shortest range. So by the time they engage into close range, I should have already knocked them down quite a bit. However, if I encounter an empire that specializes into mass drivers and has both shields to counter my lasers and anti-missile systems to counter my missiles, then I'll be pretty fucked. So I'll see how it goes, but I'm gonna try that strategy with my weapons. Now, with some of the other points that happened. So in that battle, I was able to win. It was a hard fight. They attacked my homeworld right out with about 17k in strength, an army of 5 and an army of 12k, or a fleet of 5 and fleet of 12. And I had no ships there, so I had to scuttle back. I only had about 3k of ships that were able to rush to my home system and defend. And I noticed that they were making lots of casualties and they were hardly getting hit. I had 90+% evasion from their weapons. So even though the balance of power was massive in their favor, I was still doing casualties. I was killing their ships and they were not killing mine. And I thought it was a bug. I thought, what was going on here? And I looked, I had a little bit higher tech than them. Not much. I had upgraded ships, but it was just that I learned later. I looked it up. I did a little bit of reading about Stellaris Online and strategy and so on, and I realized that there's this rock, scissors, paper weapons system in the game, which is really cool. I liked it a lot. It will reward players that actually take the time to spec out their ships and strategize on how they build their ships out, which I'm not going to do. I still want to rely on the auto ship builder because I don't want to micro too much. I want to have a good flow of pace in the game, being able to play it sort of half-time on normal, half-time on fast. And if I'm spending time specking out my ships, then it's probably not going to happen. So I'll just make sure that I've got 2 ship types, probably the bigger ships that have the missile systems, and then my fighters having... Actually, I'm going to stagger it. I'll have the corvettes and the cruisers with lasers, and I will have the destroyers and battleships with missiles. So I've got small, medium, and large of each weapon type, and a staggered array of ships to be able to cope with different sizes of enemy ships. That's what I'll do. So that last game, in any case, you can see I played 90 years. I have 241 pop and 40 worlds. And I'm still not even close to inching towards the victory condition of having 40% of the galaxy conquered. So I'm just never going to finish that game. Huge is definitely huge, and I look forward to playing a huge grand strategy game when I learn the game. I've maybe made a few mods for it that tweak the world in a really interesting way, and but for now I want to play a smaller game, try to conquer the game, win the game, and also continue to explore how I can hack the engine. I'm using cheatengine to play around with the memory. I've found addresses of all the empires now, so I can see what they've got and change properties. I saw how much the the strength of the fallen empire, and it's a massive number. So yeah, what I'm going to do in this game is I'm going to mod it, and I'm going to teach you guys how to mod, both using memory hack to create a new race. So I'm going to load up cheatengine here. There we go. Whoops, it loaded up the wrong cheat table. Alright, so okay, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to go, I made a new race. I'm going to edit it, walk it through real quick. Now, the kind of game that I want to play right now is, I want to set up a real big challenge for myself. I'm going to play a very militaristic, aggressive, hostile species. And because I'm creating a new species, I'll be the only one of that species. And I'll be hostile by default to everybody. I'm not going to be in an alliance, I'm not going to be in a federation unless I force others to submit to me, but then I don't think that they join your federation. I think they're just becoming vassals in a sense too. And I'm going to also implement slavery and play that out, because I've seen slavery a big part of this, and I've read that slavery is actually quite powerful. It puts you at odds with other empires quite a lot, but since I'm already going to be playing a very militaristic, aggressive empire, I'm basically going to be all out war with everybody. So I'm never going to try even to be on friendly terms with people. Everybody's going to hate me, everybody's going to try to attack me. I'm going to put some advanced AI in the game, and I looked through using memory hack. I looked through and the unzipping the save game, which I'm going to show you guys in a bit, how advanced the advanced AIs are. They're quite advanced. They are quite powerful. In a sense, I believe it feels like you're not really supposed to catch up to them. So when you put advanced AI in the game, you're not, unless you play really, really long, and they seem to have sort of a turtle strategy, you probably won't catch up to them, at least for a very, very long time, probably 300 years into the game or something like that, maybe even more. So what I'm going to do is, since I'm going basically at war with the entire world, I'm going to give myself the equal amount of perks and bonuses that the advanced AI get. However, they start with a whole lot of new techs already developed. So instead of adding technologies to my race, I'm just going to give myself a bonus that I've quickly calculated out. It would probably balance me out in about 200 years. 200 to 300 years based on how I grow. So given these bonuses, they're not huge bonuses actually. When you look at the bonuses here, they're not actually that huge bonuses. 15% food, 15% credits. However, all of them combined, like the 15% engineering output, physics output, society output, plus another 10% there, all of that combined does add up. It's hard to calculate how much that's going to add up over time, but I put a spreadsheet up. I put the numbers that the advanced empires are at, and then I calculated it out really briefly. Of course, that doesn't really take into consideration things that happen in the game, how much they spread out faster because they're more advanced and things like that, but it should be challenging enough anyway. So what I'm going to do is, using cheat engine, I have found these points right here. So you see how that changed right there? It gives me 2 trait points left and 4 trait picks. I can now check out let's see here if it's working or not. Okay, it's working. So I'm going to pump this up to a big number. I'm just going to add 2 zeros to it. And now you see trait points left 19, 99. This is actually changed. I've added 2 zeros to it, so it's actually 200. There isn't enough space to list that number. So I'm going to give myself all of these. All the good ones. Oops. And that is all of the good ones. Decadent. Resource output without slaves. I'm going to take that actually, because it fits very much in line with enslaving people. Even though it's a negative, it fits the theme of my game. So I like that. So now I'm going to set those points back to their default. Walk through this. However, ethic points, I'm going to pump that up again, go back next, and give myself the maximums here. So I'm collectivist and I'm a slaver. I'm a xenophobe. You can't have the opposites, by the way. So if you pick this, you cannot pick that. You see how it cancels each other out? Likewise, if I pick that one, it takes that one away. Materialist or spiritualist? Happiness? Or, yeah, tech. So I've got one on that side, that side, that side, and that side. Right. Okay. I'm gonna play a despotic empire. I was thinking of continuing and doing a military dictatorship again. But despotic empire, especially with this here. This government is a relatively pure form of autocracy with an absolute ruler that governs the state with an iron-gripping appendage. That line right there just fits the theme of this overall, and I don't think I could get better than that. Now I'm setting the points back. And I've already picked the colors. I picked this guy, sort of black tortoise shield that resembles it. I'm gonna go with energy weapons to start. What is that? Close? Okay. Warp travel. Breach. Start travels fast flowing to existing paths along the hyperlink network. I played with that real quick, and you have to build these wormhole generators in each system to jump to. I think I played with that one in my first game, but this one is much more unrestricted. However, the drawback of warp travel is that it requires a cooldown time. When you enter a sector, you have a long cooldown time, sometimes an entire month with a big fleet, where they can't do anything. And it's not as fast either. It's also leaving you vulnerable to attack. When you enter a new sector, ships can attack you and you can't really do anything in return. So, however, it does allow you to travel anywhere. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take that, I think. Yeah. Fungoid ships. So these things errored out when I tried to so it's not going to let me save unless I memory hack that. So memory hacked it back. Now I can save. I have to hit done there. No, I changed the memory and that won't let me hit done, so I'm gonna have to hit done there. Here, I'm gonna set the memory back before I create the game. And I'm gonna play on a small only lets me do 2-arm spiral. I'm gonna play on a ring this time though. Is that gonna be fun enough? I think I'll go with that. 1,000 was just a bit much. Let's do a medium ring. So I'll make 20 AI empires and I'll have 6 advanced AI starts on insane difficulty. Allowed FTL method. I'm gonna have them limited to hyperdrive. And then they have to stick to the paths. So you don't have any people coming out of thin air from across the ring, crossing over the center of the galaxy to your home and play. So here we go. Now there's 6 other empires out there that could right now squash me, plus any fallen empires. First things first, before I unpause, Tundra and Arctic, I think that was relatively close to what I was. It's in my space. Is that in my space? Where is the hexagon? Yeah, it's in my space. Another thing to note is that if you see the map from here, it snaps back to the original view. See, if you have it in an angle, for example, let's say I put it at that angle. Well, that doesn't do it justice. Okay, here's an example. You see that star from this angle, it looks like it's in your cloud, but it's not actually, because there's a z-plane. Some planets are below the z-plane, some are above. You see there. And you can see here, also another interesting thing to do is make sure that this button is checked, detailed map mode. You want to be seeing the detailed map mode. Without detailed map mode, you miss a lot of information. That was on by default for me, so I heard some players complaining about that and saying, "Oh wow, I found the detailed map mode." Yeah, explore your user interface. The user interface, I actually saw, like, I think it was PC Gamer, some guy complaining about the UI. He's an absolute noob. This UI is beautiful. It's probably the best UI Paradox has ever made. You got a quick menu here. It's, you know, quick access menus here. 1, 2, 3, 4 here. It's ridiculous how easy this UI is. Really, really well done. So anyway, gonna take my science ship and queue that, just to get all the systems around me. Okay, well, for example, that system looks like it's outside of your cloud, but it's actually inside, because the hexagon on the z-plane comes up to the XY axis here. That one's outside. That one is outside as well. The dot in the middle has to be inside. Actually, that one is probably inside, because it looks like the dot, the line in the middle of that hexagon, is actually inside the cloud. It's hard to look because I just put that order on it. That one's definitely inside. That one's definitely inside. These are outside. So I've got 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 inside and 2 outside. Don't get confused by that. I don't think anybody that understands the game is going to get confused by that. Just PC Gamer people. So from here I'm going to save. And now I'm actually going to go to the desktop and show you how to hack your game, hack your save game. Let me switch windows here to capture make a transition in the stream. So now you see my documents, Paradox Interactive, and Stellaris. Save games. Pteranodon Dominion. Now this is actually a 7-zip file. So extract the archive. Now you've got these two, game state and metadata. Open that. Now you've got the actual game save file. In here, you might want to also check that all the other species do not get super bound bumped because you just used a memory hack, and it looks like it worked. You turn the, before you hit done on creating the game, you memory hack it back to its default. So these all have the default amount of traits and so on. So that is the save file that describes all the species in the game. So these are all the properties that you chose in creating the species, how it looks, the name, all these different kinds of things. So you can also change properties here. Pops, auto growth, things like this. So you're going to create a new window to look up let's see, Stellaris. I'm just going to search for that term, Pops auto growth. Nope, didn't bring up anything. I'm going to check Stellaris save game editing. And I'm also going to check cheatengine.org. So, let's see here. By the way, there's also a very good view here. I'll bring this window over here real quick. This thread right here. Also check out the Tyranny trailer. That looks like a great game that's going to be released soon by Paradox. So, problem with save game editing. Here's another guy that was editing a save game, and he followed this wiki page on how to do it. However, he didn't do it correctly. And the way that you do it, I'm going to step through it here in a little bit. You do exactly what I just did. You unload it, unpack it, then you edit the game data text file in a text editor. And when you repackage it, you have to do a zip. Save it as the you can make it as .zip and then just rename it, but probably easier just make a new package that's called your game.save. Algorithm deflate. But then you have to put tc equals off as a parameter, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. What that does is it does not include the NTFS, the Windows NT file system timestamps. It's important that it doesn't have those timestamps because it doesn't parse that information when the game is being loaded. So if, when it sees that information, it doesn't know what the file is. It has a bunch of data that it doesn't need, did not expect to see, and it will not show up in your load game. So that guy was having that problem, and this guy made a really good post on how to do that. TC equals off using 7-zip, definitely use 7-zip, and that's on the Paradox forums. I'm looking for a list right now of the properties that you could potentially add. Probably not going to add anything, I'm just curious. This is a very good thread in cheatengine.org. Released a cheat table. I don't think that cheat table is working anymore. Unless he... Oh wait, it looks like he updated it. I could grab that, I suppose. I'm gonna grab that and check it out later. Oh, that's Resifence. Awesome. He is the best game hacker I know on the cheat engine community. So if he made a cheat table, then it is professionally hacked now. I like making my own cheat tables though, because it's part of the fun of hacking games. So let's see here. Alright, I found another thread. Trait very intelligent. Oh, he's editing traits. You can also edit traits in your traits file. I'm not doing it that way, I'm hacking the game directly in the memory, because I don't want to have a bunch of crazy traits that the AI also gets. So I believe these things here, let me open that again, pops auto growth. Let's see if there's a race that has something interesting. A lot of different races. Looks like they all have the same standard stuff. So I'm not learning anything from that. No, it doesn't look like it. So what I'm gonna do is check let's see. Well, this guy created, I'm just trying to see if no, it didn't show up. Okay. The one thing I want to try is giving myself maybe something like a leadership bonus or something. Species leader XP gain, levels. I'm not going to do that stuff because that's really cheating. That basically gives you super speed at researching, for example. And I bet that number would make it research immediately. It's a multiplier. I'm not going to change any of that because that would really change the behavior of the game. What I want to do is give myself like +1 leaders or +1 planets or something like that. Just to see if it works. Can't find any kind of trait like that. So you can also edit planets. You could make yourself an amazing planet to start off with or something like that. Let's see if anybody else found more information in the engine here. Looks like that guy's post is the most popular. People are quoting it. This guy is explaining what memory addresses to go off of. And if you're viewing this stream and you don't use cheats, well, too bad. Cheats and game hacking is just really fun by itself to see what you can do in the engine. It's part of how I play games. It's part of how most hardcore gamers play games. So for example, the game strategy that I'm going to play now, where I'm at war with the entire galaxy, and I have a certain kind of theme to the game, you could never do that if you were actually going to play the game normally. It would be impossible. So having this kind of theme requires a little bit of bonuses to be able to be viable, and still it might not even be viable. But I'm going to give it a shot. But I'm just going to work with the in-game engine bonuses. I'm not going to change behavior of the game at all with all these kinds of things. So, is there nothing that just... Country leader cap. There we go. Or I could try something like... No. I just want to have a plus something, +1, +2. The easiest thing to test that would show you immediately if it worked or not would be adding to the number of directly controlled planets. I currently have 1 out of 5, and if I just added 1 and saw if it upped it to 6, then I would know that it works. But I can't find anything that shows that. Leader age. Oh, that's interesting. I will try that. I'll try... Of course not 12,000, that's insane, but... Let me just add that. Wait, that's not my species. That's my species. Leader age. Is that an absolute leader age? Or is that a bonus? Let's try... Okay, I'm back in the game now. Let me switch in the stream. So, back in the game, I'm looking at leader age, and it says 31. And is there a max age? Okay, let's look at leaders. And see if there's a... Okay, here we go. Right there. Age above 72, so... Maybe 72 is the dying point. Maybe it doesn't increase though. Let me check this. Demographics. I think there was a leader increase. Leader lifespan plus 120 years. That's one of the traits, so I don't think it adds that to their number. Slave procreation. We can't change that, why not? Slavery allowed. Maybe I can change it later. But I am gonna go for slavery in this. So I can't get a number. What I'm looking for right now is a number that shows me the age cap after which a leader has a chance of dying. With this trait, venerable, the standard age is 72 years, and with this you get 120 plus years onto that. So that's already a lot. Leader skill levels 1. Okay, I want to edit something that I'm going to notice, like directly right here somewhere. Maybe naval capacity, I could try editing that. I'm going to try making leader age as... let's say 300. No, you know what? If I do 50, then maybe I'll see it right away. Age 31. Leaders. Do I have anybody above 50? The problem there is that it might add the 120 to that and not give them a death chance yet. So I don't think that's going to be an easy one to figure out how to... Let's see if there's any other property that I could tweak. Leader skill levels. Maybe I can try that. Let me check leaders. Leaders all have 2 skill. because I have that trait +1 skill level. So that'll be something I can test. If I take that, I go here, and I give myself another 1 leader skill levels. Let me do 2 just so it's not the same as the current trait that I have, because it might overwrite. So that's all I'm going to do with the save file, just as a demonstration of how to edit your save file. So the only change I've made is this. You can change your traits, you can change traits of other species as well, give them more traits, give them less, change any of the variables that define their species. I just want to test this. I'm not sure if this is going to work because it could be a property that's not supposed to go in the definition of the species. It could be a trait definition that's supposed to be under the traits hierarchy when it reads it in, and part of an actual trait. You can also go in and edit what these are. Like, you can change what that means. Trait talented, for example, here this guy made a new trait called trait super 1, the cost of 100, and the modifiers as such. Trait super 2, trait super 3, and 4. He's obviously got a crazy amount of bonuses there. That would make the game pretty easy. So definitely not going to do that. That would really change the nature of the game itself. So I'm going to go ahead with that. That file is saved. I'm going to go back to here. Now, don't zip the folder, zip the files. Create an archive. 7-zip is the best archive program to use. You should call it, oops, just sav, sav. I'm gonna call it .new. Here tc equals off in the parameters. Deflate. Zip format compression. And okay. So that now created me a new save. Cut that, paste it there. I'm now going to shut down the game and load it back up. So exit to desktop in the game. Gonna go back and load up the game again. Now this might not work because that property might not be in the right place. It might not be a species modifier. So the result of this could be that I can't load the game, or that I could load the game and it just doesn't read it. If that's the case, I'm not going to continue with this save file. I'm going to go and fix it so that there's no bad data in my save file. And so now let me switch back to Stellaris. So now we're back in game, and it does let me load that game. So that's the new game that we just created. Let's load that up and see what happens. If it works, then my leaders will have... it didn't work. So my leaders should have had 2 additional skill level. So at least it would have done the base 1 skill level +2, and they would have 3. Or it would have done the base 1 +1 trait and +2, so they would have had 4. And that's why I made it 2 in the save game edit, to see if that would work. So that does not work, because that is apparently not a property of a species, so it's not loading that. It is loading the game, however, but I'm going to save again. I'm going to call that IG for in-game, and exit to desktop. Don't necessarily need to exit to desktop, but So now I'm going to go back here, and I've got this IG save. I'm going to check if it changed that property. It did remove it. So it removed that property when I saved over it to make a clean save. And you can see in that one it's there. So that is not a property of a species, which is what this whole table structure is defining. It's a property that belongs inside of a trait definition, which is found in your traits file in the game installation folder. If you want to see where that is, you can see that here. It is in Stellaris folder. Where was that now? Common? Yeah, there we go. Traits. So these are the species traits. Trait thrifty, cost 2, modifier, and so on. Right, intelligent, modifier mult, 10% increased physics, engineering, and society research. That's how it defines this bonus. So, that's not working. So I can't change any of the intricate details with that, which is fine. I don't necessarily need to. I just wanted to see if that would work. And in doing so, I've now demonstrated how you can change your save file. What are some other things you can do in changing your save file? You can go down to the planet definitions. Whoops. Let's go back up to a bunch of planet definitions. Here's the name, here's the ID of a planet, the planet name, planet class, the coordinate. It is in orbit around 95, which is the ID of the system, planet size 5, fortification health, so on. The resources it has. So here, for example, you could edit this planet to, I think it's energy, I'll have to look it up, but you could edit that planet to having 15 energy. I don't know. I'm just going to follow the same format it's got right there. Oops. So, if I save this and I load it, then I'd probably also need to add deposit here, maybe not. I'd have to look up the IDs for these things. You'd probably be able to find those in the game files as well. In the game files that describe planets, for example, which you could probably find star classes here, for example. Maybe not. Strategic resources. Okay, yeah, so it is called energy. Then you've got this, and so on. Sector types, ship types, terraform, tile blockers, planet classes. That should probably be what it is. So you see all the properties of the planets and how they're set up. Planet modifiers. Okay, so you can see all of the modifiers here. Let me find that rich. Yeah, there you go. Mineral rich. Let's see what it was called over here in the game, in the save file. It was called D rich mineral deposit. Let's find that without the D. Can't find that. Okay. Rich mineral. No. That might not be the file that describes deposits. However, resources we did find here. And we can make resources based on that definition. see what else we can do quickly. This takes a lot of time, learning the game engine, learning how to edit it and so on. And this is how you make mods. You go through and you create entirely new systems for the game, creating your own file structure here in everything that you want to change. Let's see, deposits. Okay, so I think this is, yeah, the mineral deposit and the rich mineral deposit. So this is where you define those. Vast mineral deposit, minerals 3. Immense mineral deposit 4. So immense is the biggest one. So what you could do in your game is something like go up at the top and see the name of your the name of the planet that you started out in. Let's see if it lists your home planet 18. So I'm gonna search for 18. I'm gonna search for 18 equals. So let's see, species index, growth state, ethos. That's not me. That's not the one I'm looking for. These are not just the droids you are looking for. There we go. Is that it? I don't think so. Because that's not the name of my home planet. But I do remember the name of my home planet. It was Tyrannus something. There we go. So here we go. It's 52 apparently. So this is the structure for my home planet. Name of the star is Tyrannus. It apparently has 14 planet objects in that system. Base 0 to 13 is 14. Star class SCG. Remember the star classes over here. So we can see SCG, what is that? Yellow dwarf. Right? So that's the class of the star. Hyperlane. It defines 3 hyperlanes for hyperdrive. Apparently has an asteroid. So what I'd like to... Okay, so it has planets 0 through 13. So maybe what I can do is search for planet. I also know the name of my home planet. It's also Tyrannus something. And there we go, we found it. Planet, named Tyrannus. It's a PCG star planet class. Orbiting planet size. It's a nice planet size. I should probably even make this my capital because it's a nice planet size. And you see the ID in the planet structure is 0. So that is the ID of the planet, and it said planet 0 in the star system definition. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make, let's see, wait, Tyrannus Prime. Planet class, PCG star, what is that? PCG star. Oh, that is the actual definition of the star. Okay. So that's the actual definition of the star, the sun, in that system. I guess the sun itself is considered a planet. So I'm gonna go down to planet 1, which is at the actual capital. I'm gonna change the planet size. So first I'm gonna go ahead and play in the game and load it up before editing to show the planet size. The planet size was 16. And let's make a breakpoint here. Where's that? I want to make a bookmark here. I forgot how to do that. I usually use Sublime for coding. Give me a bookmark. There we go. Just clicked right there. Yeah, that's what it was. Let me just test something. I think it's Control Up. No. No, not Alt. Not that one. Search. Next bookmark. Bookmark. Next bookmark. Previous bookmark. Okay, let's try that. Okay, yes. And then Shift F2 to go back. Okay. Let's put that there. And then let's go back up to the top of the file. Put one there. Search again for that. I want to bookmark the definition of the system. That's the planet, star, and there it is. Country. So you can edit your technologies here as well. When you look at the Fallen Empire's technologies and the Advanced AI's technologies, they've got about 4 to 5 times as many as you do. So that's why it's quite challenging, especially if you're going to go to war with them as soon as you meet them. So here you can see, okay, the name list. Difficulty 2 is apparently insane, 0, 1, and 2. Number of advanced empires 6, number of empires 20. So this defines the galaxy. Let's see what that goes down to there, and then there's a design of the other. Oh no. There's a Kushani species in there. That was another system named Karak. Species named Kushan. I'm gonna have to search for that. Doesn't give me much. Search for that. Doesn't give me anything more. That gives me nothing. Okay. Search for that. Okay, this is at the ruler definition. Spawn enabled, no. Spawn enabled, no. Okay, well, whatever that may be then. So, what I'm gonna do here is edit something that we will be able to see probably right away. Gonna go back to the game, and now it's not working. Again. Let me exit. Try to load it back up and see if that works now. Okay. I think it's because the launcher shuts down the window and then it can't capture the new window. Let's see if it works this time now. It's not working. Okay. Well, let me try exiting out of the game and before starting it up. I will I was gonna try to just launch the game without the launcher. Doesn't seem to be able to do that. So let me try loading the game first before I click it on Stellaris on the streaming software. So now the window's loaded. Let me see if that... Yes, there we go. Success. So what I'll do here is load the game. That one, since that one wasn't clean, I'll delete that one. So I've got a planet here with 16 planet size. Let's make our home planet better. So let go of the game, capture that window. 16 planet size. Let's make it... I don't know what the limit is actually. Let me look at that. I think 20. Might be able to build 20. So let me try 20. That would add another row. Let me also add something like... So on tile 7, there's 2 engineering research. Let me check the game and see where that is. I don't see 2 engineering research anywhere. On the tiles there. That's odd. I see 1 engineering research. Food 1 and engineering research. Aha, maybe. Let's see. I think I found it. was not it. I only see one tile with one engineering research. Okay, let's look for another one. Let's see. Building power plant with one energy. That should be easy to find. Okay. Alright, I found that, and that is 8. So, if now established in the game, switch over to the game real quick. That's this one here. It has a 1 base power energy, and if this is tile 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The reason I probably couldn't find that one with engineering research is because it is the capital. And it looks like it's overwritten something here. Okay. So, now we know how to count the tiles in the game if we want to edit tiles. Nine says it has a blocker. Decrepit dwellings. But the next one there is not a blocker. Let me see which other ones have a blocker. Failing infrastructure. In 17. Oh well, now I know that it's not even talking about that planet. Because it goes up to 24 tiles. That is really weird. Really, really weird. Oh, I think it just has 24 tiles. In all of them. No. Okay, I don't know what to make of this because this one only has 16 tiles in it. Perhaps it generates a full 24 tiles for every planet, but then it limits them based on a random number of tiles for that planet. That would make sense. That does, however, mean that 24 tiles is the maximum planet size. So I'll try that. Moons 2, pop. What is my population there? 7. Okay. Colonized state orbitals. Leader, space army. Entity tiles. I'm gonna try to add some tiles here and see how it shows up in game. So I believe it's this. Let's see if that has D null deposits. Yes, it does. Alright, so I'm gonna add the immense mineral deposits. Okay, close that one. To something that already has mineral deposits. So that one has a building mining network. So if I put this here, deposit equals D immense mineral deposit. Yes, D equals, oh, it needs quotes around it. So that should make, let me just check in game where the mining network is. And it says that's in tile 12. So what I did here was I did this. I added to tile 12, which says it has a building mining network, this line right here. Deposit equals D immense mineral deposit. However, it says that there is a building mining network there already, and it is tile 12. Back in game, the only building here with a mining network is this tile. So if we count, we'd have to count differently. If that was tile 8 though. Or maybe it was that power plant. Could have been that power plant. If that's 8, then it must count from... If that's 8 and that's 12, that makes no sense. None at all. And apparently that tile is 13. Because it has... No, that is 13. So if that's 12 and that's 13, that is really weird. And it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, that wouldn't make it. 13 has a building type, building capital, which is that. Let me just make sure in the text file that this is, yeah, modifier capital. Name Tyrannus Prime, that is the name. This is all within the same structure. So that's quite weird. It looks like the tiles are even randomly distributed or something like that. Which is very odd. That's a weird way to program it. Let's look at the society deposit at 11. That makes sense, because there's a society deposit right before that one in the row. Aha, I think I've cracked it. Okay. So on a 24 grid, you would actually have 6 columns. A 6x4 grid. So that makes sense. Okay. Well, then it makes more sense how to count forward. Alright, so in any case, I put that one there, D immense mineral deposit. In the game, it currently has, let me switch back to the game. In the game, that would be this one. And then tile 13 is this one, which is the capital. And that one currently has 1 mineral, which you can see in the text file there. Population 3. So it put the 3rd population unit on there, which you can drag and drop anywhere you want. And it's got a 1 base, which is what it says in the resources there. The previous tile to that says Society Research. It does not have a pop assigned to it. and it has a deposit D, society deposit, which makes sense because that's exactly what it's got there. So, going back to here, let me check. Okay, you can have that. So, immense mineral deposit is supposed to have 4. I think you have to change that there then. And you've got the mining network there. Now I'm going to actually pimp up the capital. I'm going to see if this works because it might not. As you might not be able to have minerals and energy on the same tile, but it's the capital, so it could work. So, my capital should be really... my capital tile should be really beefy now. And the mineral network right next to it should also be really beefy. Now what I'm going to do is go back into the save game, file, there, zip it, add to archive. Just checking that I'm on the right screen and showing you guys what's going on. Modded.save. Okay. There's my save. Put it there. Go back to Stellaris. Load game. Modded. Load. Now let's check out what we did here. And indeed, we've got 4 base minerals in that square next to us, 4 base minerals and 4 food. However, the energy did not get added there. I think you can only have 2 bonuses on a tile. So, what I'm gonna do is change it to energy. And I'm not sure how high you could go with that. You could go higher. You could test it out. 4 is the default maximum per tile based on the game deposit settings definitions. So I'm not going to go above that. I'm going to get rid of this middle line. And then in this one, I'm also going to put the energy deposit. Mineral energy deposit. Interesting. Okay. Energy credits. So, the immense energy deposit. That tends to go below the definition, so I'm going to fix that and do that correctly. I'll put that one below as well. Pop 3, pop 4. So this tile should now have 4 base energy with an immense energy deposit, and the 1 food, and a power plant. And that should be tile 14, which will be right next to, on the right side of the capital. Save that. Go back here, do the same thing again. Mod final, save. There. Stellaris window. Load. Mod final. Now let's check out our planet, which is quite pumped up and interesting here. Aha. That one didn't work because that building type collects minerals. So I'll change it back to minerals. And now I've got one beefy mineral deposit, one beefy power deposit, and the capital beefed up. So, learning as we go. Back here, 13 capital. Change that to minerals because it has the food and mineral. This building apparently can harvest food and minerals. So if you put energy there, or a science or something like that, you're just gonna lose it because that building type does not collect that. So I want to make one more with energy. There we go. Give it the deposit. I see. I think what this says here is that it has a mineral deposit on that square, but it is not being harvested because it has a power plant there. And then I don't know what these are. This could be the base resource amount, but I don't know why it has that listed twice. But that definition could very well be the amount being harvested right now, the base amount, and something else. So you learn a lot about game data as you're playing around and hacking games, and this is what I do when I'm learning a game engine and the files and everything. And I do this for quite a while in order to come up with ideas for mods, and that's how modders make mods. If you enjoy playing mods, this is how you learn how to make mods. So this is what mod makers do. We have a lot of fun not only in the game, but outside of the game, playing with the game files to then go back in the game and tweak things. And that's sort of what this channel is about. This is how I play games. I crack games, I hack them, memory hacking, game file hacking. More tweaking when it comes to that. I mean, when you're memory hacking, that's hacking. But tweaking files is really just tweaking. And you try to push the boundaries. Maybe come up with a mod if you can define the boundaries. Let's say the boundaries on this are 1 to 100 or something like that. Well, if the engine allows that, it gives you ideas for how to make different kinds of mods. Maybe we could make a mod in Civilization, for example. I just thought of this just now. It came to my head right now. What if you could make a mod similar to Civilization where you have only one city? There's a game mode in Civilization where you only play one city. You can only have one city. If you're going to do that in this game, currently the way it looks, you wouldn't get anywhere. But what if that one planet was a maximized planet and had plus 100 to all the tiles and allowed you to actually have enough resource collection and so on? Maybe you could set the building time for buildings to be really, really high, but then you have one planet that is your home planet, and that's the only one planet you could have the entire game, and you have to conquer the universe with one planet. And then it might require you to implement a game mode where you have to burn to the ground all the other planets, and you could move your planet. You could establish a new colony somewhere else, which would move your planet to a new one. And then sort of be a moving empire, a super planet moving empire, similar to, for example, Total War Attila, when you are playing a horde faction. You're a moving empire. So could set something like that up in this game if testing these variables and testing how hard you can push them would allow opportunities to make mods like that. So that's actually an interesting idea, and I'm going to explore that a little bit to potentially make something like the Cylon or from Battlestar Galactica, or say the Borg from Star Trek. What if you could make a Borg-like empire, where you just have your fleet of ships, and you move, and you continually grow your fleet of ships, and you consume planets. You don't colonize them, you consume them. And that adds to your resources, that adds to your technology, that adds to literally everything, just like the Borg. You consume a planet, you assimilate new population points, you gain resources, you maybe learn a few techs from that empire, and by the time you defeat the entire empire by assimilating them, by consuming them, you could learn all their techs. That sounds like a really cool mod, and I think I might be making that if it works. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna go back into the game, get it going, and end this stream so that this video is a quick tutorial on how to memory hack and mod your save file to set up a game with a strategy that is different than most likely anything else that you could do without doing that. So again, this game I'm going to be completely hostile. As you can see in my policies, I am a slaver, I am a purger, I am a full orbital bombarder, and I am an aggressive. And I'm going to keep those policies the whole game, I'm not going to change them. Hopefully I don't border along a fallen empire. That's going to kick my ass from the beginning. But I am going to be at war with everyone that I encounter, including neutral races. Well, actually I haven't decided that yet, because I sort of think those gas grazers are cute, and there's nothing to gain from killing them anyway, so. But any sentient species that has planets, I'm coming to get you. I've modded this race with all of the bonuses and one negative trait here, that I get 10% less resource output without slaves, because that fits the theme of this game, where I am a slaver, a conqueror, and that's the game that I'm going to play now. So I'll set up the first research. Let's see here. That would be good to reveal. Power Hub. I love Power Hub building. That's a great building. Monthly influence. That's probably the best. However, I need to make colony ships first. So. Alright, well that's the setup of this game, and a quick tutorial on how to memory hack, and, well, not so much of a tutorial on how to memory hack, but that's a more lengthy discussion. You should go to cheatengine.org, download Cheat Engine, go through the tutorial of Cheat Engine. The memory structure in this game is quite simple. The only thing that I memory hacked here was the creation screen before I made the game, where I was able to memory hack the amount of traits that I could give my race, and the ethics that I could assign myself. So those are the bonuses that I'm going to have this game. That is roughly 2 to 3 times higher bonus in the ethics category. I've got about 2, maybe 3 times more than you would usually start out with. So those are the ethics. Usually you'd only have maybe 2 of these. I've got 4, so it's about twice as much. And the traits. Usually you can have a maximum of 4 traits. I've got all of the powerful traits, which is about 12 or so that you can see here, maybe 15. And you can only have 2 points to assign to traits, where I clearly have something around 30, 40 or something like that. So that's a huge increase, of course. And the bonuses here are fairly slight, but garrison health 100%, it doubles the garrison health. Fortification defense bonus 50%. Lifespan 120 years. Ethics divergent 20%. Other species happiness 1%. That will help a lot with slavery, by the way. Happiness 5%. Migration time and resettlement costs. Army damage and minerals. Leader experience gain. Leader skill level +1. Growth time 10%. Habitability 20%. That's huge. Engineering output 15. All output 10. Minerals 15. Energy credits 15. And food 15. So slight bonuses to everything. I think it's 25 bonus. No, 15 bonus to all the outputs. 25 bonus to engineering. 10 bonus to the rest of the sciences. +1 leader skill level. So it's enough bonus. However, I think I'm gonna need it. The difficulty level is on insane, and the playstyle for this game is to be, there are 6 advanced AIs, and if I encounter them first, this will probably be a very short game, because it would still take me, with all of these bonuses, about 200 to 300 years playing at the top 5 empires, below of course the advanced AIs, to catch up to them. So if I meet them in the first 100 years, I'm not going to be as strong as them. And because of my playstyle with this, I don't necessarily have to go to war and attack them immediately. That's not the goal, but I will not be friendly with them, and they'll probably attack me anyway. So no allies this game, no friends, completely aggressive tyrant. That's why I am Tyrannus. So I'm going to start a new stream and cut this video as a quick tutorial. I'll be back soon, and thanks for watching.